This movie is proof that not everyone should be having children. Capernaum, released in 2018 and is directed by Nadine Nabicki, who is also behind such films like Caramel, Where Do We Go Now, and Rio, I Love You. And this movie is starring Zayn Al-Rafia and Yodonos Shafira. And the reason why we're talking about Capernaum today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from my biggest contributor and supporter on this channel. She has recommended so many films, and with me getting back to her list, she's been very patient, so I'm deeply appreciative and grateful for your patience with this. Getting back to your recommendations, here it comes. This is Name the Stars. Thank you very much for recommending this movie and sending over your donation with this one. I think you recommended this a while ago, but again, you've sent me so many recommendations that I'm going to try to knock out in the first quarter of 2023. This one... God, this was a freaking hard watch. Zayn is a 12-year-old boy living in the slums of Beirut, and currently he is serving a 5-year prison sentence for stabbing a man. And as this film begins, this 12-year-old boy is suing his parents for having him in the first place, and we take a look back at his life to see all of the grime and shit that he has been living in order to help the audience understand why he is suing his parents. I wasn't kidding, Name the Stars. This was a terribly hard watch. It is an excellent film. It is a well-acted film. This freaking kid, this 12-year-old boy, has more acting chops than the majority of professional actors working in the US today. He was so freaking good and so freaking compelling. But my God, it's not a movie that I would go back and watch again and again and again by choice. Not that I would never watch this again, but if I had the choice between watching this and really anything else, I'm probably going to take that something else, because that something else is probably way more positive and uplifting than this movie. Because you see the shit that this kid is living through. He's 12 years old and he's acting like he's 35, 45. He's the adult in this entire family, which is terribly sad. He lives in this small, rundown, one-bedroom apartment with, it seemed like 10 or 12 kids, all part of this family, because his parents won't stop fucking. And as an audience member, it's terribly annoying watching the trial and seeing this kid suing them because he says that I just hate that they brought me into this world and I want them to stop having children. And then you hear this sob story from the father about how he gets nothing, he doesn't get any job, people look down on him, society is keeping him down. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's terrible. I'm sorry for that. But if you're in that situation, you know what would help you out? If you stopped fucking. And if you're going to fuck, wear a condom. And if you don't have a condom, you find a plastic bag and you tie it off with a bungee cord. There you go. That's all you need. Something to prevent your things from going into her thing, to create another living thing, to starve and live in this world, this shitty-ass world that you have created. I definitely think that in a situation like this, the judge, the courts, should mandate that this man get a vasectomy. Vasectomies are just fine. You can keep having sex afterwards because you know you want to, because apparently you can't stop doing it. Unlike here in the States, where we tell women that no, you can't use contraceptions because life is so freaking precious and women don't have rights and blah blah blah. God, I hate this country. It'd be much easier if men just had vasectomies. That way all of your seeds just wouldn't be blowing in the wind and spreading all throughout this country, and people weren't being born and starving in terrible living situations. It would just be much better. After watching this movie, my viewpoints on that situation are definitely amplified, and they're justified. It's a very dramatic film. It is very, very traumatic. It's a slice of life. You are constantly at Zayn's level. You're watching him go from place to place, starving from one place to the other, looking for a job just so he can get a little bit of money so he can buy food for himself so that he doesn't starve. And then he gets caught up with this other illegal immigrant who has a kid, and he wants to look after this kid and decides to do that while she goes off and works, and then she's taken away because she doesn't have the proper papers. So he's left with this kid. This 12-year-old boy is left with this 1-year-old child to feed and to care for. This kid, this actor, is one of the most mature actors I have ever seen. How they get his eyes so red because he's just been crying 24/7 for days on end because he's starving, he's lost all hope, he doesn't know what to do. Just to see the redness around his eyes is heartbreaking, and it's a brilliant performance. One of the best performances I've ever seen. This frickin' kid. Wow. Now, in any dramatic piece like this, you can't just have a 2.5-hour movie of constant torture and constant drama and constant despair. There have to be moments in here, because it's a narrative, it's a film, it's a public piece. There have to be moments of levity in here. And we get moments of levity. They're very subtle, though. The moment where she brings home the birthday cake for the 1-year-old boy, how the look on Zane's face of just sheer happiness and seeing just something other than like a couple of crackers. He actually has like an actual cake and a meal and something delicious here. But to see him go through all the steps of keeping his sister safe because she's maturing. She gets her period in this movie, and then all of a sudden Zane is worried because now she is seen as a woman, and if she is going to be most likely sold off to an asshole somewhere in the community, because that's how their parents are going to be making a living, by selling off their children. Very brief moment of levity, but then right back into despair. It's a hard watch. My heart breaks for any kid finding themselves in a situation like this with just shitty ass parents who shouldn't be having children in the first place. This is a well-acted film. It's a very hard film to watch. Again, doesn't have a lot of rewatchability to it, but it is an excellent piece that if any of you are going into acting, you need to take lessons from this 12-year-old boy, because he is stellar. I'm going to give Capernaum 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
So guys, if you've seen Capernaum, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.